Go ahead and find the end of your mat. I guess I need to move my screen so you can see the end of my mat. There we go. Okay. And just start to roll your shoulders. If you missed Friday, we did a pretty active class on Friday. Good. Take a breath up. Good. Exhale. Bend your knees. Soft fold down into your legs. Hands are coming up to the top of the legs. Sink the spine the other direction into standing cow. Good. And unhinge. Take a breath up. Soft fold again. Bend your knees. Step halfway back with your right foot and just straighten as much as you can. So you're just kind of stepping back. And step back in, bend both knees, and step back with your left. Just sit back, bend both knees. Sit back with your right, bend both knees, and sit back with your left. Bend both knees with your right, then your left, and unhinge. Good, take a breath. Bring your hands behind you, roll the shoulders open as you clasp your hands. Good, take a breath. We're just gonna exhale, bend your knees if you need to, all the way to the floor. Step back with your right foot. Turn that right foot, come up to warrior two. Good, now watch, we're gonna cartwheel down, put your right hand on the floor. And as I did that, I turned my heel up in the back and I'm gonna revolve my lunge. Now we're gonna go back the way we came. So I'm gonna go and turn this foot and cartwheel back up to warrior two. Cartwheel down and revolve. Spiral up, warrior two, spiral down. Good. You can always do this on your knee. There's an option for you. And one more time, warrior two. And revolve lunge. Both hands to the floor, step back to downward dog. Good. You can pedal those feet, those legs a little if you want, lifting the hips as you press the heels down. And come forward into plank. Chaturanga to up dog. Tops of the feet to the floor. You can lift the legs if you'd like, but drive the heart up. We're gonna keep those shoulders out of your ears so we don't want to be squinchy. And sit back, knees apart, feet together, child's pose. Good. Go ahead and reset your plank and just cat cow here on your own, waking up the spine. Remember to take your breath with you. Good. Go back to downward dog. And when you're ready, we're going to step forward with the right foot and come up into our warrior two. So turn that left foot to the side. Good. Here we go. So your left heel's going to turn, spiral down, 2, revolve lunge, turn, and spiral up to warrior 2. Turn, spiral down, turn that back heel and spiral up. Good. Cartwheel down, revolve your lunge, turn that back heel and spiral up. You have 2 more. Spiral down and up. And then down. Don't worry about these little micro adjustments you have to make, like stepping in a little bit or over. That's completely normal. Good. Come all the way to the floor. Take a breath and step in, standing extension. Back is straight here. And then exhale and fold. Bend your knees, lift your gaze, unhinge. Inhale up through the heart center. Exhale back into heart center. Well done. Good. Take a breath. We're going to go to tree today. So I want you to take your right leg and level 1, I'm going to go straight up and down with my foot. My heel is against the side of my shin. So I'm not like this. That's a little too much of a kickstand. Really just try to put the toe on the floor. I want to focus on opening through my hip and be here. Remember, we want to bend the knee that we're standing on, right? Just a little bit. So think soft. We don't want to lock that out. That's when we lose our balance. You can go higher than that. You can go on the side, right? You can also go above your knee, but we don't want to go on the knee like this. Not good for that knee joint that you're standing on. Good. Pull the core in. Find your posture. Sometimes people will compensate for their posture by not even knowing they're doing it, or I should say compensate for their balance by kind of slouching toward the floor. So what we do is we age, right? So we want to pull ourselves up. I'd rather you lose your balance and have to reset than to be rock steady, but you're like this, right? Because that's not good posture. Good. Let's bring the hands out and open. Palms are up. Just inhale. See if you can touch your fingers together. Yep, see, I lost my balance. And now I'm going to push, look, downward. Palms are down. I'm going to touch my fingers all the way behind me. Now I'm going to turn them up and bring them back together on the top. All the way down and touch. All the way up. Now, if you need to go slower, do that. All the way down. Good. One more time. Up and down. Now, this time as we go up, plant that right foot and come up off of your heels. So up onto the balls of your feet. Squeeze the glutes, draw the legs in towards each other. Keep those heels up, turn your palms up, dive forward. This is diver's pose. Inhale as you drop your heels. Exhale and fold. Take your right leg back. Unhinge into a high lunge. Bend that back knee. Think about tucking your hips under your shoulders. Good. Let's open up to warrior two. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Good. From here, take both arms overhead and turn your heart toward the front of your mat. Good. Now, exhale. As I reach out past my mat, I'm driving my hips toward the back of my mat. I'm going to put my hands on my shins for this one. Not that warm yet. I can reach the floor, but I'm going to let my body warm up a little more. Good. From here, leave your left hand down. Inhale. And on your exhale, open up to triangle. So now you should feel like you're not just pulling your hip toward the back of your mat, but lifting it toward the ceiling. Bring your hands down. And we're going to go to downward dog. Good. Come to plank. Now you can do what we're going to do next on your knees, or you can start straight-legged and go to knees, whatever you need to do. We're going to do a plank push-up. So come down and back up, and then turn to your left. So left arm up, side plank. Come back to plank, plank push-up, and go to your right. Come back to center. So here's your kneeling option, plank push-up. Go to your left. So I'm just staying on my knees, but notice I'm not here. I'm still in a plank position. You can extend a leg if you want to. Go back to plank, plank push-up, and we're turning to the right. Come back to center and chaturanga to up dog. So it's like one more plank push-up, but we get this nice release. I've got my elbows bent right now, so I'm more in cobra. That's what's feeling right for me right now. And let's do child's pose. Roll up onto your shins. Good. Now we're going to go toward our left revolved half camel. So if you need to take your legs out a little wider, you can. Hey, baby girl. Left hand goes back, right arm up. Good. This is about opening up this side of your body. How far back you reach is the least important thing. Yep. Even if you're just way up here, this is fine. You should feel the twist in your spine, but not stress. Good, and release it. Soften your hips so that you can come back to the center. Take your left leg forward. Sink into this nice kneeling lunge here. Bring your hands to your hips. And I want you to think about pushing your shoulders back as you squeeze your elbows together. So looking up isn't that important. Good, bring your hands to the floor and slide the hips back. So this is just like our kneeling position, or not kneeling because we're kneeling now. This is just like our standing position. Our intense side stretch is just kneeling. Good, slide yourself forward. We're gonna lift our back leg. Step halfway in with your right leg. Take a breath and split your fold. Just feel everything lengthening. Good, now unhinge. Leg is still back. Good, take a breath as you bring it forward into single leg stand. So it's the right leg. This is the same one you had up earlier for tree. Cross it over and let's sink into a single leg chair. Push your hips back. So you should feel this right hip getting a nice stretch. Keep the heart forward. We tend to want to lean down in this. Same thing. That posture tends to be the first thing that goes. So we're not tense here in the core. We're breathing, we're moving, but we're also a firm structure. Good save. Okay. Good. Lift that up. Reset your mountain pose. You can bring the hands up through center. Good. Give a little march there, kind of shake it out. And inhale. Come back into heart center. Get your body ready. We are lifting the left leg into our tree pose. So this side doesn't have to be where the other side was. Keep your posture. Think about all four corners of your feet being on the mat. So if that foot was a rectangle, you're pressing down all four corners. You might notice your heart rate or your respiration rate's a little higher than it was before. That's okay. Just notice it and just move through it. Good. Let's come up, open up. Good. Now here we go. We're going to touch the fingers together at the top. Come all the way down and squeeze. Touch them behind you. Come all the way up and touch. And all the way down and squeeze. So my hands are rotating right there in the center, right there. They rotate and then they rotate. So a little shoulder work there. 3 more. Two more. What you should feel is this little shift happening with your balance. Last one. Good. And inhale, reset that mountain pose. Come up off of the heels, up onto the balls of the feet, squeezed inward. So not just with your heels or your ankles, but all the way up through your legs, through the middle of your body. So that helps this from happening, this whole ankle thing. when we squeeze and everything goes toward the center. Even if you're apart, if I'm squeezing inward, that's going to keep my stability. Yep. So my glutes are squeezing inward. My core, my inner thighs, everything is squeezing inward. And then there's no ankle wobble. Good. Bring those hands around and over we go into your diver's pose. Inhale, drop the heels, exhale and fold. Good. Step back with your left foot and come up to your warrior two. Good. Now we're going to reach and lift. Straighten your legs. Now my heart is facing the top of my mat. As I reach beyond, see my hips move? My hips are moving toward the back. And again, I'm just going to stop here. I can go to the floor, but I'd rather stop here and really sink into this in my leg, because then I can really sink into this pose rather than just getting to a point. Good. Right hand stays down. Exhale, shift up into triangle. So now we take that hip and lift it up toward the ceiling. Come on down, hands to the floor. Step back to downward dog. Good, and find your plank. Now we've got those plank and side plank combination coming up again. So I went ahead and took a knee this time. You can too if you want to. Inhale down, exhale up, go left, come down, plank push up, go right, plank, plank push up, go left, plank, plank push up, and go right, plank, and chaturanga up dog. And sit back, child's pose. Ease yourself up onto your shins. And this time we go to the right. So take a breath, turn the spine, push the left hip forward, revolve half camel. You might be on your heel or maybe the back of the thigh or even on your hip. Just relax the left side of your body open. And come center. Take your right leg and step forward. And just enjoy a nice long kneeling lunge here. Hands to the floor. Pull the hips toward the back of the mat. And slide forward, lift your back leg. Step in halfway and just really lengthen here. Crown of the head toward the top of your mat. Good. Step together. We're going to unhinge here. Inhale into single leg stand, your left leg. Cross it over and sink into our single leg chair. Push back into your hips. Focus on your breathing. And take a breath. And exhale. But let's do that again. Just inhale up through the center. Exhale away. One more time. Inhale up. And exhale. Good. This time we're going to inhale up and come back to the center. Good. We're gonna do some toe or floor touches. So it's kind of like we're progressing through Warrior 3. Sorry, lost my train of thought. So just watch me for a second. I'm gonna take a breath, and here's where I catch my balance. So I'm lifting my right leg. There's Warrior 3, and then I'm just gonna touch the floor. So there's a little disengagement, and then I'm trying to bring it all the way back up. And then I'm just going to come back to prayer each time before going to the other side. So a modification, if you cannot get all the way to the floor, is to come here and then just come back up, right? Don't worry about touching the floor. But if you want to add the arm movements, you can just kind of come down and touch your thighs and then come back up. And remember, you don't have to lift the leg. You can always just modify by touching a toe behind you. You're still having to brace with your standing leg. All right. So everybody start in your prayer pose, mountain pose. Here we go. We're going to go down to go up. Here we go. Take a breath. Lift. Find whatever your Warrior 3 is. Maybe it's here. Coming all the way down. Touch the floor or just bring the hands back to prayer. And then come all the way up and back to heart center. We shift over. It's time for the left leg. And up. And center. We shift to the right leg. We shift to the left leg. We shift to the right leg. And one more time. And center. Good job. So you should have gotten pretty warm there, whatever modification you were doing. Inhale up, hinge and fold. Soften your spine here. Push the hips to the ceiling. Good. Step back with your right foot. And turn it to the side. Come up to warrior two. Should feel like you can get that warrior two a whole lot deeper now. I'm just going to turn so I can see you. Good. Turn down the right side of your mat. Take a breath. Exhale, and we'll just wind up in a nice wide-legged fold here. Good. Stay in your wide-legged fold and unhinge. Good. Now, listen carefully. Shift toward the top of your mat. So I've got to push into this hip and sit back like there's a chair right here. So I'm not leaning forward. Pushing into this quad. Now I'm going to put my right hand or my top hand on the floor, reach out with this one. Now, if that's too far, look, do here, you can even be up here. Good, then I'm going to come up and now I'm going to the other side. Just reach. Up. Reach. Up. Reach. Good. Up. So working those legs laterally here. Notice the line I'm keeping between my hip and my arm that's reaching out the crown of my head. So I'm not tucking my head. Good, last one, come up and fold again, wide-legged fold. Turn toward the top of your mat. Step in to fold. And from here, we're just going to step back with our left leg and come up to your warrior two. Good, take a breath and turn down the left side of your mat. Inhale up and exhale, wide-legged fold. And unhinge. Take a breath. You should, when you go towards the top of your mat, it should be your other leg leading first. I'll be the same because I turn to face you. All right, here we go. Take a breath. Shift toward the top of your mat. So the inside, the top hand, same leg is bending, reaches for the floor. Maybe this time you just do here, or maybe you need a little bit less. That's fine. And here. Sometimes we need a little bit less because our back tells us so. And up. Sometimes we need a little bit less because our legs tell us so. Sometimes it's our flexibility. There's probably 30 different reasons why you could not go all the way down. So just make sure that you're breathing. And of course, if you need to do this slower, do it slower. Who cares if you do two less than us, right? Doesn't matter. We have two more. And come to the center. Good, hands to the floor. Turn toward the top of your mat. And this time, step back to downward dog. Good. Inhale, lifting your right leg up. And now bring that right leg under you. Let's stretch out that hip, which we actually just stretched, but we worked it too, right? So flex your foot. Good. Make sure you're pushing this back leg down and you're trying to pull the hip around. Better if you're off of your right hip. And just enjoy this trip forward here, whatever that's going to look like for you. Keep your chin off your chest and keep your shoulders rolled back into their back pockets. Slow your breathing down here. Good. Walk yourself up. And I'm going to give you a choice. We're just going to this on the pigeon on the other side. So you can swing your legs around to the other side. You could go to tabletop, or you can come back to downward dog. And we're just going to lift a 3-leg dog. But don't worry if you miss this. This is not that big a deal. And just however you get there, we're going to come back to this pigeon on the other side now. Right leg is back. Flexing my left foot. Breathe into your back. And come up from there. Have a seat and go ahead and just take your legs wide. Good. Sit up nice and tall. Good. Of course, if you need the hands behind you, do that. So if you feel as though the spine right behind your belly button, right through there, if you feel like that's bending more and moving toward the back of the mat, that's when you need to be here, because I want to actually point my pubic bone to the floor. Good. Flex your feet for me and push your legs into the ground. Good. We're going to move just a little bit with this. This is for our inner thighs, our hips working with our back. So I'm going to start with the modification of the hands behind. Okay. So I'm going to take a breath, exhale and push forward, inhale, and then I'm going to reach my right hand to my right leg. And I can use this hand to push. Notice my heart stays forward. Then I'm going to unhinge. Exhale, come forward, left to left. Come back center, and up. So here is our arm in front. So I inhale and I reach, inhale and reach. So I'm pushing with the front. Inhale back to the center, exhale over, inhale, left to left. Inhale back to the center, right to right. Inhale back to the center and left to left. Inhale back to the center, right to right. Hopefully you feel like you're going a little further now. Inhale center and left to left. Sit yourself up. Good job. Bring your legs in and your feet to the floor. Roll all the way back. Good. Feet are going to be on the floor. We're going to lift up into a bridge. We'll pull your core in. And lower one vertebra at a time. Let's just take a second here in reclined bound pose. Feet together, knees apart. I want you to take your hands over your head and put your thumbs on the ground. And you should notice like your back arches off the ground. Like someone could just come and put their hand under the arch of your back. Just allow that to happen. Good. Bring your hands around and your knees up. Take those knees over your hips. Inhale. Exhale over to one side. Let's decompress the spine. Look in the other direction as you exhale. When you're ready, make your way to the other side. And come back to the center. Good. Just begin to move into your rest pose. Just slowly move through your body, starting at your feet. If you haven't yet, really work toward the breath moving into the belly, softening the lower back. Relax your jaw. And begin to feel your body in contact with the floor. And take some long breaths in, let them out as a sigh. Roll yourself to one side before joining me seated. Good. Once you're seated, bring your hands into heart center. Good. Now listen, take a breath up. I'm going to take this hand across my head. This one's just going to reach for the floor. I'm just going to gently create this long line. Yes, I'm sitting up tall. Good. Now all I'm going to do is shift my gaze down my collarbone. Good. Release your head to come back up. Come back to heart center. Inhale. Now this hand comes across. Create the long line here. Again, find your posture. Good. And then I just turn. Inhale up. Exhale, heart center. One more breath. Oh, God bless you guys. Namaste. Happy Monday. Have a great week. I hope to see you Wednesday. Thanks for joining me.